off because I didn't do anything. It worked one time, the next time it didn't.
Well, they can hear us, we just can't hear them.
But if you just
Yeah.
completely get out of it and rejoin.
It's not the meeting, it's the computer itself.
Okay, does everybody know sign language?
I knew most of the alphabet,
Yeah.
not all of it. Where you going? Right here?
Technology's great when it works.
IT's on its way.
Gene just doesn't want this to end.
Yeah, Gene.
Should we put a sign up in front of the camera for the internet people that says technical difficulties?
Yeah.
Session will resume soon.
Yes, we could do the beginning.
Yeah.
If you want.
Mary and Rob, stay in the meeting. I'll be right back. No. Well, we're just gonna have to wait for Brady to get here, I think.
So it's gonna be a few minutes?
Yeah.
I have a few questions for Gene.
Oh,
While we're waiting,
yeah?
I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So you started in 1980, right? You remember who was on the board with you when you first started?
Wow.
Was White on it?
No, he
Okay,
came
well,
later,
it's not-
much later. Well, I can't give you one name right now,
I bet Wally Souter was on it.
yeah.
That's fine. So what are, in the 45 years you've been on the board, what's the biggest things you would say you got accomplished?
I'm gonna say the lowering of those power lines. That's why I stayed on the board, to get that job done. I promised, one of the pilots from Zimmer, is the head pilot at Zimmer's, Jim Police, and I said, he said, the biggest problem we got out here is coming in on this landing on 2-7. He says, I'll take you up in the aircraft and show you what I'm talking about. So he called Zimmer, said, I'm taking a flight check on with the aircraft. They okayed it, we took off, and we came back in, and he says, now take a look at those lines. And he says, 25 feet down, we're hitting them. And I said, Jim, I'll get that job done. And I thought I was gonna get it done in 85, and it just fell through.
Yeah.
All the guys from FAA retired that year, and they wouldn't allow everything that we had done to get it ready to move forward stopped. And they said, you gotta start all over.
Wow.
And that happened again to me. We had to start all over again, besides that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it took a long time to get this thing done.
So now they
But
got,
I told him I'd be on the board until it's done. And I said, if I live that, I never thought it was gonna go this long.
yeah.
Never in my wildest dreams could I ever believe that could happen, but it did.
Now that it's done, what do you think when you see it now that it's done?
I had a pilot come up to me, I'm gonna say, within the week, and he said, thank you for getting those power lines down. When you're in a small aircraft, you're coming in, and instead of having a nice glide all the way through, without any worries, they'd come in like this and then drop and then come in. And he says, it's always a little scary. So, yeah, and he's not a pilot anymore, but he says that needed to get done, that job needed to get done. So I'm happy I got it done.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. Any advice for the board going forward from your perspective?
It's already
What
unlocked,
would
yeah.
you advise, or what do you think?
Oh, I'm looking for tunneling 100, whoever, if these guys can get it done in less time than it took me. You're gonna have to get awfully old.
Yeah, well, we'll get in there now.
But that's, and getting the county to come in and helping with this airport. It should be a city-county airport. It shouldn't be run totally by the city. The county's gotta get involved. So, and they're starting now. They're coming in and, but I'd like to see it become a city-county function, and then we would get more revenue
Yeah,
from the
just shut the
state
system
and
off.
from the Fed.
Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Do you fly yourself?
No,
No, you
no,
don't fly
I,
yourself?
the reason I got on this board,
We could bring in
my
a
wife
technical
wanted
guy,
to
huh?
learn how to fly.
Okay.
Well, we got busy with the kids and her going to college and finishing up and become a school teacher, and it just fell apart. She never got to take any air flight lessons, so, yeah.
Well, you probably know more about flying now than when you started, right? The board?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you work, okay, well, thank you.
Okay, very good.
Okay, we'll call this December meeting of the Aviation Board of Commissioners to order. It is 5:23. We're late because we couldn't get the speakers to operate. Hopefully, we're fixed now, so. All members are present. The mayor's present, Josh, council members present, and Dave Sloan's present. So, the first item for us is the minutes of November meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Gene, second by John. Any discussion or corrections? All right, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
None opposed. All right. Approval of claims. We've got, I'm getting in the habit of calling these prior to claims, so
Well,
Looking to see if there's anything out of the ordinary for you guys. It was our year, if you see in there underneath Amazon, we did have to purchase new jackets. We get safety jackets for the guys every few years. And this year, the retro reflective stripes on the jackets were not passing the reflectivity test, so we had to purchase some new jackets for the guys. We had to order some runway globes from Flight Light, as well as some transformers, just standard stuff. As birds land on them, or this time of year when we're plowing snow, if snow hits the glass, it can sometimes break those lenses or pop them off. We had to order a couple of those. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot
I see we had,
outside of the normal, unless you guys have a specific question about something.
I see we had another payment to Stan Tech.
Yep, just ongoing support. We did have those wells pulled last week, I think, a couple times. There was some guys out doing some work with those, doing some more testing, so I'm hoping we'll have an update here for the January board meeting.
Okay. The amount is $57,310.20. Do I hear a motion?
I make the motion to accept the claims and especially the $42,834.20 for Accent Aviation Group and the $595 for Camp Software.
Is that in addition to the prior twos?
Yep.
Should we be doing those as separate motions or?
Second, I'm sorry, I'll
You can
second.
do them as one.
Okay.
Steve seconded it.
Gene did or John?
Steve.
Steve second, John motion. All right, any questions or comments? All right, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
None opposed. All right. Special recognition.
Gene?
oh. Not anything.
I'm holding a plaque here that says 1980 to 2025, 45 years. And as mayor, absolute privilege to say thank you for your service on this board. It's probably safe to say unmatched, 45 years. Gene,
Yeah.
45 years. But also, like I was saying before the meeting, on this plaque is our seal, the city of Warsaw, the city of Lakes, a great place for living, working, and playing. Your impact on my family, my mother, my wife, two important women in my life. Anytime there was trouble in our house, call Gene. Let's go to see Gene. And he's gonna help us get better. And I know my family and countless unmatched families influenced by you. Board, the drugstore, and in everything else that you do. It's an absolute privilege to thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Absolutely. Thank you.
Here's this. I selfishly would like, if any of you have anything to say, you may have something to say, a group picture. And who was on the board 45 years ago, I don't know. But I selfishly would like to have access to a picture with this board.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wish I had a picture of the first board I was on.
1980.
Did they make
Yeah.
cameras back then?
You know, I just remembered one guy that was on there, Mac Silvius.
Mac was serving on there.
Mac Silvius, and the mayor at the time was
Mike?
Mike Hodges. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
First house I bought was Mike Hodges' house.
Did you end
And
the?
Max Silvius is the one who called me and said, Jeff, I think you ought to run for council. We're connected. Back there, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay,
Man,
yeah,
that's a long time ago.
yeah.
Gene. Nick?
Well, I started, I'm in my 13th year as the airport manager. Yeah, 13th year.
Already?
And, yeah, I know, just a baby compared to
Yeah.
you, Gene. But I'll never forget, it was my first or my second board meeting, and Gene looked at me and said, you know, I've been on this board for a long time, and I'd sure like to retire in the next couple years. Can you get those damn power lines lowered? So I'm glad we were able to get that across the finish line for you.
I was really wondering if we were gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Honestly, boy, I'm telling you.
You
But-
weren't alone there.
Yeah. So
Because you remember, we had Wally Stouter on this board
Yeah.
at one time, and he was trying to get it done. He was flying people all over to come in here and get those power lines lowered. and
Yep.
Never did get anywhere with that, you know. So, it's amazing, totally amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you for all of your guidance, and especially, it was always fun to call you. Hey, do you remember this at all? And some of the stories and the history that Gene's got about the airport and
Yeah.
some of the users, and yeah, you will be greatly missed, but I'm glad you're just a telephone call away.
Yeah, that's right. And you pulled me out of the snow one time.
Yeah, we did.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it'll be all right. Thank you.
We can get a picture of the whole board.
Thank you, sir.
Been great working with you.
Very good. We're gonna get a picture with everybody.
Yeah.
You want us to go down there or what?
That would be better, probably, down here and stand there.
Yeah.
The city, if you want. Here.
Either way, we can get a city.
Yeah, let's come over here. So this is always nice. Close here. All right, Gene, front and center.
Well, I'm the shortest one.
Right in the middle, come on in here. And go over a little bit.
Well, one of you move on the other side, Gene, so like you're on each side.
Thanks to the entire board too.
Jeff, I was a lot taller.
Long time. I'm not sure. I've been on a long time too. I was on before Nick came on.
Really? You started in 2010?
Ernie Wiggins put me on
Yeah, I think you were,
early on in his tenure, I think. I remember.
I don't remember.
It's been a while.
Phil Lowe. Phil Lowe was another one on there. Lowe. He was a pilot in World War II.
Was Paul
Trying to
Grossnickel?
remember what he flew. He was in Germany.
When did Paul join the board?
Yeah, that's what I
Paul
was
got
wondering,
in
too.
much later.
Much later than you? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Engineers report?
Yes. Engineers report's next.
Any high times to share
What do you mean?
The claim one.
I don't think it's made it all the way down back.
Looks like you guys can see that,
Yep,
all right?
thanks, Mary.
Alrighty. First up is runway 27 obstruction mitigation. Again, we are just waiting for to close out documentation from the FAA on this. We submitted this. This is the power lines. We submitted it back in June, so we'll see when we hear back from them on it, and this grant can officially be closed out.
I did, in one of my conversations with Victor, Mary, he did say they are working on it, but the shutdown did affect them. There was one of their lines of business that they got delayed, so they are working on it. I'll try and touch base with him this week sometime and see if we can get an update, but with Christmas and the New Year's, I doubt we'll see it this year.
Yeah, I imagine it'll probably be next year, which is fun. The next up is runway 927 safety area. Last month, we had submitted to Nick the final report that included all of the comments
I know.
addressed that the FAA had for us. I did want to just kind of walk through that report just a little bit quickly, because at the end of my presentation, we'll be talking about the capital improvement plan, and there are several projects that we've added to that capital improvement plan based off of this study. So for those that may not remember, the FAA kind of asked us to do this exercise after we did the 1836 rehab. So there were two areas of concern after 1836's rehab that they wanted us to look into. The main one being the inline or line taxiways. So there are two inline taxiways, one on the 18 end here and one on the 36 end here. So they wanted us to look into mitigating those just because they hold, they have a lot of hazards and risks associated with it, inline taxiways. You know, if you have an aircraft pulling into a taxiway, then it can be in the direct path of a departing aircraft, which obviously can be dangerous. And then the other item that they wanted us to look at, let me scroll down here.
Eric, can you blow that up?
Oh, yes, yeah. Better?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other item that they wanted us to look at were the overlapping RSAs for 927. I know that this is kind of hard to see, but here's the RSA here, and then this here as well. 1836. So those are kind of the two areas that they wanted us to look at in this study. And what I want to talk through is the mitigation that we're going to be doing with this. So first up for the inline taxiways. You guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So for the 18 end, we are showing that we are going to shift that runway 18 threshold south. So there's going to be kind of a two-part approach to this. So first, with this taxiway Bravo project that we have going on next year, I'm actually going to switch this view because this is somewhat misleading how we're going to approach this. And of course, the plans, there we go. So this is the same view, it's just, it's oriented a little differently. So we are going to eliminate the taxiway pavement here, was shown on that screen previously. We had originally shown eliminating this pavement as well. Upon further review, we decided to keep that and for a short period close that pavement. So we will have an ending marker here, and then all traffic will be going onto this taxiway connector here. And this portion will be changed over to a blast pad. I say that this is interim because a few years later, we will be changing this lightly to this next configuration. This portion will eliminate the aligned taxiway, but it obviously will cause us to lose some runway length. So we want to try to get as long as the runway as we can on 1836 with the usable pavement that we have. So a future project that we will be showing on the CIP will be to eliminate this Bravo 5 connector and then add in this new connector here. And once we add in this new connector, then that blast pad pavement that you saw previously, I'm sorry, I don't know why it's taking so long to kind of switch back and forth. This pavement, a part of this pavement will be eliminated. So you can kind of see here this pavement that we're leaving in place. We're leaving it in place because we will be connecting that taxiway connector there. So then there will be about, let me see, 170 feet, I think. We will, oh, excuse me, 214 feet of pavement that we will be eliminating on this end.
And Mary, Dan just had a quick question. I'll step in here. He asked why we had to eliminate that taxiway Bravo 5.
Glad you
And-
asked that question.
Yeah, and we can thank you, John. It's your fault that we have to eliminate it. There's a rule with the FAA that you cannot taxi from a hangar directly without turning onto a runway. And because of where your hangar is located and that you can just pull your aircraft out and taxi straight out onto 18, you have to have at least a 45-degree turn onto a taxiway and then another 45-degree or 90 turn onto a runway. And that is to help stop runway incursions. What they don't want to have happen is in low visibility, pilots filing a flight plan, setting up their instruments, they're not paying attention as much as maybe they should, and maybe they cross the taxi. They think they're on the taxiway, but they're really taxiing out onto the runway. And that's why we have to close that Bravo 5. The other thing that I will say is I have to give huge kudos to Mary and her team for putting up with the jerk of an airport manager, because they had this document done, and I came to them in the 11th hour and said, hey, we're getting a lot of complaints from the corporates because 927 had just been closed. And they were having a lot of issues with their numbers on 1836 and how much fuel they could leave with, and then braking in poor weather. If the runways are wet, because that runway is not grooved, their numbers go up substantially. And so it was a Hail Mary, and I went down and met with Mary and Ranjit and their team and said, is there anything we can do? And they came up with this idea, this is how we can shift the runway just to eke out an extra few hundred feet on both ends of it. And so I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for putting up with me on that and making that happen. You guys were awesome. And this will not quite get us to 5,000 feet. I think the ultimate length will be about 4,700 to the north and about 4,500 to the south, give or take. Which we currently have 4,000 feet. So adding that 500 and 700 will just help our based jets anytime that 927 is closed for construction or an emergency or any other situation. It just gives them that much more operational use out of our north-south runway.
Right.
So I don't want to take over your presentation, Mary, but I did have to say, I really appreciate you guys helping with that and getting that across the finish line.
No problem at all. I appreciate the praise. next up is the other end for this aligned taxiway. On the 18 end, there was more significant changes. This end, we really just had to move the threshold back. So we're moving it back 170 feet. And not 170, 350 feet. I was looking at the wrong number there. And then we will be putting a displaced threshold on this end, so that will help eliminate that aligned taxiway. But really, this is more of not really, not really asphalt that we're having to adjust. It's really just paint markings that we will be repainting on this end. Any questions on the aligned taxiways before I go into some of the RSA?
I thought that they were wanting the threshold moved all the way north of.
Originally they were, and when CHA, obviously I didn't want that to happen because
No.
that makes that runway unusable for our jets. We were able to document how many turboprops and turbines use that runway, and it would make it unusable. And so again, I think that was Rob's team that really was thinking outside the box, saying, well, why can't we move the threshold south? And they sat down and put pen to paper and said, well, why can't we move it south? And there wasn't a reason we couldn't. So that's what we're proposing to the FAA. They still have not signed off on this study yet, but
Okay.
this is what we're asking for.
Well, it's more logical, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This this requires very, very little effort on their end. The north end is going to take some construction dollars. There's going to be some asphalt work that has to be done, but they're sandblasting, seal coating, and painting. It's not a very big project when it comes to
Okay.
lengthening the runway.
So they want B5 removed.
B5 will be moved to the north. Well, it'll just
Yeah.
be the last crossover at that
Right.
point, but yeah.
So why does that threshold have to move south?
Because the road is in the runway safety area.
Oh, okay.
So it has to come south, and I'm not looking at it, but I think it's like 200 feet.
Yeah. I think, is it? It's,
That's where it's at
The
now.
threshold location is based on clearance of the road.
Yeah.
yeah. This is the interim and the next one.
214
Yeah, about
feet.
214 feet.
That was close.
You can see RSA right there, right south of.
So.
That actually moves it north.
Yes, because of how long the aligned taxiway is, we're actually moving the threshold north and gaining actual runway, but we'll be losing physical pavement because we can't
Right.
keep that stuff to the north because of the RSA issues. Because the RSA is calculated off the physical end of the pavement, not the threshold. Did I say that right?
Yes. Yeah, we're losing physical pavement, but we're gaining runway length. Right now, basically the way that everything is set up to be able to land and take off 4,000, and by correcting inline taxiways on both ends, we stretched the thresholds as far as we could based on roadway and RSA clearance to 350 north and the 200 south to get you as much runway length as possible.
350 and 250, Rob.
350 and 250. Yeah, 350 and 250. To basically get you as much runway as possible between those two roads.
Are any of the people out there?
And corrected some non-standard conditions on the existing infrastructure, like taxiway.
Figures.
Yeah.
And we're removing the part in red, simply because the FAA doesn't like inline taxiways, correct?
Inline taxiways and,
This is considered an inline taxiway, and then this is considered more of a hotspot, just because from the research the FAA has conducted, more incursions happen at these types of taxiways.
if you look
Direct
at,
access taxiways.
yeah, if you look at the corporate taxi lane that we just redid, to get onto the runway, you either have to make a 90-degree turn or that little jaunt to the west there. And that is why that is in place, is to help,
Right.
lower the chance of
Well, but
a
there you're
runway
still having to
incursion.
make 90-degree turns to get on the runway.
Correct, and that's why B5 has to move. The asphalt to the north has to come out because that safety area, the runway safety area, cannot include the road. And that area is calculated off the physical end of the asphalt. So where that northernmost part of the asphalt ends, that blue box has to be inside the fence. And that's why we have to cut that northern 214 feet off. If that road wasn't there, we wouldn't have to remove any of the runway.
So it's a combination of things then.
There was a whole litany of issues that we had to work through, and I know Rob and Mary's teams did an awesome job, both adhering to the new standards that the FAA has, as well as listening to the grumpy airport manager wanting more runway. So,
Mary, on that north end there, that runway safety area that you guys are talking about, what is the FAA trying to protect from? Airplanes taking off to the south or airplanes landing to the north and sliding into the road?
that. It's aircraft sliding off onto the road.
Yeah.
Well, whether that pavement's there or not, it's not going to change anything potential on that.
Right.
Right.
And as far as airplanes taking off to the south, every bit of runway you got's the better. It's illogical.
And Rob, step in if you want, but it was explained to me many years ago that the FAA, when they do these studies, put a big white piece of paper on a wall and they draw a fictitious runway, and every time there's a slide off or an accident or an incident or anything, they put a red pin and they measure it off of this fictitious runway. And then once all the pins are up on the map, they basically draw their shapes.
A box.
And they say, okay, anything inside of this can't be there. And they flip a switch and then we all have to comply. That was when I asked for layman's terms, that was how it was described to me. And
That's about as logical as anything.
it does, when you sit down and you look at it, they've got 100 years of aviation accidents that they can go back and look at. They're trying to do everything they can to keep and truthfully, this type of project, it is for pilot and passenger safety, but it's more of a public safety issue because they want to protect the people using that roadway and an aircraft sliding off and traversing cars or people walking or riding their bikes or something.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
If that's the real goal, then they should put a concrete barrier along there.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, safety area is there for landing and takeoff.
I'd probably do more damage to the airplane.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it protect the public.
No, I would. Not the pilot, but
Okay.
Good questions,
Enough of my
good
dumb
conversation.
questions.
No. Sorry, Mary.
Alrighty, no, you're fine. The next item that we were wanting to address for FAA was the overlapping RSAs. So the good news is that they overlap, but they actually are compliant with the design criteria. We did find a few things with the safety areas that will be more of like a long-term fix. So your glide slope antenna and shelter for runway 27 falls within the ROFA, and the localizer for 27 falls within the RSA. So when those were put in place, they did meet current design standards, but now those design standards changed. So right now, the FAA deems them as fixed by function, and basically, you'll be required with your next major runway program for 927 to correct those issues. So with the 927 program that we will have in the future, those will be areas that we'll look at. And then the other areas that we looked into were some of the obstructions on your runway end. So you do have some trees and some poles in your threshold siding surfaces. So those will need to be mitigated. And by mitigation, I mean, if there are trees, either, cutting them a little bit lower or, cutting them completely. And then if there are poles, lighting the poles or whatnot. So these are just some of the pictures of some of the obstructions off of your plans that we'll be looking into mitigating.
Yeah, and just to clarify, these obstructions are, based on readily available data. During the course of this project, when this actually becomes a project, we'll have to do new aerial survey to make sure that we capture, and there's gonna be an aerial survey as part of this project because it's a runway extension regardless. So during that process, we'll do a full new AGIS, and if there's any additional obstructions out there, we'll make sure that those get captured during the project as well.
I know I just threw a lot out at you for this RSA study, and any more questions with that? I really wanted to kind of dive into that just a little bit because some of the projects that we do have coming up with the CIP are in regards to that. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was understanding of that. We don't have any board action for the RSA study at this time. Okay. I don't hear any questions. I'll move on to the next item. Wildlife hazard site visit. We have not heard anything back from the FAA. So there is no board action at this time. For task order 6, task lane Echo 1, we're just finalizing closeout documents. We're hoping to have those for December board, but with the RSA study and with the CIP that you'll see in just a bit, we had a busy month, so we'll get those to you all for January closeout. For Taxway Bravo Rehab, we are finalizing contracts for survey and geotech. And we'll be working with Finn and Brown on finalizing dates for their spring work. And we do have one motion for the board for invoice 58412.7-10 in the amount of $17,473.98. And that is a local share of $873.70.
Okay. Entertain a motion on that invoice.
I move we pay the CHH invoice 58412.7-10 in the amount of $17,473.98.
Motion by John, second by Gene. Any questions, comments? None? All in favor signify by aye. Aye. None opposed. All right, Mary.
Thank you. No update for the general services task order, and no update for the AOD.
I have an update for the AOD if I can step in for a second, Mary.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So I have spoken with Don Tribbett, and we have an agreement here that we are going to be working with the planning office to get this funded But this agreement, the board needs to initially approve this so that it can go to the Board of Public Works for their nod of approval as well. This contract will be with HWC Engineering, and they are a company that provides planning offices ordinance language, and they are going to be drawing up the legal language for the airport overlay district. CHA did a lot of the heavy lifting with the drawings, the research, the background. They are not a law firm, and they don't provide legal services in that way. And so to get the zoning language for the city code book, HWC has a proposal, and let's see here. We would just need the board to approve this proposal. And I am looking, I forget what the price was. But again, the planning department is going to be picking up the bill, since they're the ones that are going to have the language for them.
Is this an organization that the city has used before for this purpose?
The city has not, there's not many organizations that write municipal code, and that was why we leaned on Don Tribbett, our attorney that we've used in the past. He knew some people there and was able to put us together. We did talk to a few different firms. This one was the one that I think everybody was, we felt the most comfortable with. And they do have a lot of experience doing it. So it is supposed to be an hourly, not to exceed. They do have their hourly billing rates here, and the total contract will be no more than $22,800.
When you say we have it here.
I
where-
apologize. It was emailed to me this morning, so I can forward this to the board.
We have to approve it, but the city pays for it.
The planning department is going to, yeah, but because the airport is the client and we are the ones creating the airport overlay district, we have to give the thumbs up.
Okay.
And how quickly does this approval need to be made?
It needs tonight. We're trying to get this on this year's budget, and that's why we need to get this across the finish line.
So we're being asked to approve something we've never seen?
That's my
Yes.
concern.
The city attorney and Don Tribbett have both gone over this contract and said that they've given their blessing on it. And I can give it to you right now, if you would like to see it.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, I think that's a little unreasonable for them to send you something this morning and ask us to approve something we've never seen tonight. I can't do that.
Okay.
I don't mean to be difficult, but how can any of us say okay to something we've never seen?
I agree with that.
And we haven't even dealt with this outfit before.
Yeah, we really need to see it. next
Okay.
time.
I'll put a motion out there that, Nick can send this to us, we can review it, and then okay it by email.
That's
Are-
fine.
Are we allowed to do that?
That's what I was just gonna ask. I don't know if we're allowed to vote by email. I don't know
I
the
don't
answer
think
to
we
that.
can.
Josh doesn't think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think so either. I don't know why, but I don't think we're allowed to do that.
Hmm, okay.
I mean, it's a great
It
thought,
was a thought.
but,
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the next thing then, can we
We
call a
can,
special meeting?
we can do a special meeting and just do a Zoom call or something later this week, if that would be amenable.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
are we even allowed to do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I know we can do. It just has to be recorded.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what's the difference between that and an email?
Don't special meetings have to be advertised? So
I want to
there's a
say
certain-
48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
So can we have this done by Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you able to put it on the screen for them to see?
I can, but it's a pretty long document, so. No, I'm pulling up my calendar here. I will confirm with everybody, but there's nothing on the schedule for 10:30 on Friday. You guys would not have to be here physically. I can set up a Zoom meeting for you all, or a Teams meeting, whatever, for everybody to call into at 10:30 Friday morning.
Okay.
Okay.
That's okay with me.
And I did just email it. Would you like, I mean, the last date that we can submit claims to the city is the 19th. That's the last public work. So if you guys would like the weekend, we can do the meeting Tuesday if you guys would like, a week from today. That'll give you some more time. It is a 10 or 11 page document, so I don't know, with some appendices with it. So if you'd like the weekend, we can do it a week from today, if you guys would like a little more time to review.
I would like that.
Okay. Let's see, Tuesday the 16th, and we can just do a call at like 10:30 or 11. Would that work for you guys?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah.
I think so.
11's probably better than 10:30 for me.
Okay, 11?
Yeah.
11 on the 16th.
Sixteenth, right?
16th, yep.
He said 16. 16, I think.
16, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
12/16. And David, I'll send out an email to everybody confirming.
Yeah.
And you said 11 a.m.
Correct. And it should just be a 5-minute phone call. It should be pretty quick.
And when will we get this report?
It's in your inbox.
Oh,
I just sent it.
okay.
Not in mine yet, but
It's a it's gonna be a long.
I've got it.
I know I don't have it. I'm on airplane mode.
Well, that'll do it.
Yep.
Sorry to hijack that, Mary.
No worries.
All right.
Moving on to runway 97 rehab. So this last month, Cindy Brown went out and cleaned up the staging area. They also fixed the haul route, they topsoiled it and seeded it. They did leave the haul route. This is just the portion that is within the RSA limits, which is required by FAA to clean up between projects. We do have 2 board motions. The first one is for board approval and Dan Robinson's signature on CHA invoice F841211-11 in the amount of $8,134.05. And the local share is the same. Again, this is a locally funded.
Yeah, this is the project we partnered with the county on.
Okay, I entertain a motion on CHA invoice 5841211-11.
I make a motion for the board approval of this invoice for $8,134.05. Second.
John, second. Questions, comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed.
Thank you. And the next motion is for the approval of amendment number 2 to CHA's task order number 11 in the amount of $156,898.50. So this is for phase 2 of the runway project. So it will include repackaging of the plans, rebidding the plans, and the construction phase services. So if you remember last year, we did the design and then we bid out all 3 packages. We only performed the construction on phase 2, so this will be
On phase 1.
bidding out, or thank you, sorry, phase 1, I misspoke. So this will be repackaging and rebidding phase 2 only, and the construction phase services for phase 2 only.
And here's the original task order and the amendment if you want to see it.
This right here.
Any questions?
Yes, Mary, what was CHA's fee for the phase 1 of the same scope?
Phase 1 was about 101,000, but that did not include the design phase services, included the bidding and the packaging of the plans, so that's kind of the difference there. And to be honest, we were very tight on our budget with phase 1. I think that it was that dollar amount was a little bit low. And I will, to get that exact dollar amount. $101,852. And we may be more efficient with, with phase 1 if we have the similar, a similar contractor, but if it is a completely new contractor, then it will be, just as much work. We don't know that going into who the contractor will be.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure on this?
Nick, how do you feel about this invoice?
Well, it's a task order. It's an amendment to the task order. I had some of the same questions, why for the increase? It's more protection for CHA right now until we know who the contractor and what the final bid is going to be, to know. I think the proof is in the pudding. If we look at other the last couple projects that we've been at, we've been under budget on all of them. So I'm confident that that will continue with phase 2. But you have to hope for the best and plan for the worst, and I think this is planning for the worst while we're hoping for the best.
Okay.
So I understand, the original contract was also 2 years ago that we drew that up, and so costs have gone up some as well. I think it's very fair. I don't know, any thoughts from the rest of the board?
Well, those were my questions. what's the difference? I understand supervision and stuff and testing or whatever.
I forgot if I can add one other thing real quick, Dan. They are having to rework some of the engineering. When we did this project, there were certain sections of pavement where the 2 inches that we milled off did not get the entire